Rivalry. What exactly does the word mean? Well, it's simply competition for superiority in the same field. So whether it's Arsenal, City, United or Chelsea or even Liverpool batting for the Premier League.
The final whistle blows and Arsenal, runners-up for the last 3 seasons, are champions this time.
England or Australia for the Ashes.
That's it, Michael Hussey, last wicket to go. Mr. Cricket, caught at short leg. Look at these scenes. England, 2009, regain the Ashes.
Or Europe or USA for the Ryder Cup. It's all about battling for a trophy, a cup of some sort, or superiority. We look at Formula 1 today and two of its best rivals in its history. Is it Senna and Prost, Hamilton and Rosberg, maybe even Webber and Vettel, multi 21? Ouch. Let's just say this, one's famous for being a quick driver and a huge playboy, and the other is famous for winning 3 world titles and something that happened on the 1st of August 1976. Let's have a look at today's rivals. To be honest, these chaps and the toys need no introducing. The McLaren M23, driven by championship-winning James Hunt in 1976, is a car with fantastic acceleration. With impressive braking and handling stats as well, the only slight disappointment is the speed, at 6 out of 10 according to the game, but the car was used in 1976 and that was 40 years ago, so credit where credit's due, a fantastic car. The Ferrari 312 T2, driven by Austrian Niki Lauda in 1976, is equally as good as the McLaren offering, with the only difference in the stats being a 0.1 increase in both handling and braking, and it will be interesting in the tests if that makes if any difference at all. I understand you guys though are here to see 2 fantastic motor vehicles battle for supremacy, so let's do it. Let's go to the mountain range above the later Brunnen Valley and a circuit with a mesmerising background for today's dry test. Today's dry test saw the cars go around the Bernese Alps festival circuit with a beautiful mountain range just to the side of the track, and there were actually quite some surprising results. The Ferrari proved what a great circuit and car that it is, with a tremendous acceleration and overall power, as well as the cornering speed of the car. However, the tyres were fairly squeaky upon entry to the corners. It managed a very respectable 141.097. The McLaren was surprisingly a lot worse. It seemed that gear shifts were quite slow as I play on automatic gearing, but I don't think this would change hugely with manual gears. The handling wasn't as good and it just doesn't seem half mesmerising as the Ferrari around here, for reasons I just simply don't know. It achieved a time of 1:43.326, over 2 seconds slower than the Ferrari. Next we go to familiar and famous place, the Nurburgring, for today's wet test, but luckily for me I also go around the short race circuit used in modern day, and not the 15-mile circuit used back then. God forbid if I had to do that. In 1976, Niki Lauda had a horrible accident around a 14.2-mile circuit that would change his life forever. Today we analyse how his car and his rival James Hunt's McLaren performs around there, in the wet. It's the Nurburgring in the modern JGP circuit. Lauda's car firstly had vile handling in the wet, a huge change to its dry handling. I genuinely felt sorry for the car and felt quite sorry for myself because it was a horrible near 5 minutes driving this car in a wet. It managed a time of a 2.07.216. The McLaren was even worse. The back end was just horrible and every 5 seconds it would step out on me. It was just awful here. I just feel sorry now for the drivers in the 70s driving around the circuits when wet, but these cars of course are not optimised for the wet. The McLaren was 2 seconds off the Ferrari with a 209.259. Today's brake test was once again around the Daytona Tri-Oval circuit, and the two cars had to get to 120 miles per hour, and the time was measured from there to stationary. The Ferrari took 7.29 seconds, rounded to 2 decimal places, to get to 120 miles per hour, and from there a further 3.62 seconds to stationary. The McLaren was slightly slower to get to 120 miles per hour, with 7.63 seconds, again rounded to 2DP, and took 3.65 seconds further to stationary. That is such a small difference on the two cars, unbelievable. So, the braking and general speed over a 7-second distance is better on the Ferrari. Can the McLaren actually win anything? Time for the half-mile drag test now. The drag test today was adapted for the speed of these cars, with a half-a-mile distance. The Ferrari came out on top by a huge 6/10, as the McLaren got off the line poorly, and the Ferrari managed a time of 15.51 seconds, whereas the McLaren didn't even get into that time boundary. It got a 16.135 second time. This would be around a 3/10 difference if done on a quarter-mile distance, but still a clear victory for Lauda and Ferrari. Overall, the Ferrari won pretty much every prize on offer today, and simply just proves that it's a better car than the McLaren. The dry test was probably the biggest shock, with the large difference, because to be fair, the wet test is quite unreliable because of grip issues, maybe being more McLaren than the McLaren, etc, etc. And also the drag test was unbelievable, a 6/10 difference, wow. Obviously the game isn't a real life representation, but according to the game, Lauda wins this battle quite easily today. Leave your suggestions in the comments, folks, for future reviews on this channel. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more. Lauda won this battle against Hunt today, and let's see what happens next time. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.